Shalom. Oh, praise to Yahweh Shem Yasham Bashem Makakadash. Taban is the apostle of the great millstone who rule well, and Shalom to all the brothers out there doing the work in sincerity and truth. It's the brother I'm on from the James London camp. Basically saw these articles. It just made me think about how more or less, the racial lines and and the lines basically between, different people's beliefs, it's getting more turned up, man. Because you had, like what you had in New Zealand with the shooter who's going for the Muslims, talking about how, they'd come over and blah, blah, blah. They were so-called invading. And even, you had the so-called response to that, which was in Sri Lanka, where they blew up shitloads of them churches. Enough people died. It's basically, you can see from, just from the kind of the climate that more or less is getting into that time where everyone's gonna be worried about the others, man. Anyone who has any kind of faith, they're just gonna be looking at them like, okay, can we trust this guy? What's this guy on? And the thing is that's something for us, the men in this truth. This is something that's gonna be definitely highlighted and pointed towards us, and pointed at us, and then that's, the heat we're gonna deal with. But I'll get into that in a bit, but for now I just touch on the articles I found. This one on Reuters. It says China putting minority Muslims in concentration camps, US says. It says the United States accused China on Friday of putting well more than 1 million minority Muslims in concentration camps, in some of the strongest US condemnation to date of what it calls Beijing's mass detention of mostly Muslim, Uyghur minority and other Muslim groups. So in China, and the thing is, China is they've been stripping the rights of a lot of the rights of their citizens over time. You had the Sesame credits, and as far as with the integration of the mark, that's been going at a much faster pace over there, and a lot of things they're kind of testing over there before they come this side as well. So it's a thing where it's these kinds of, because the thing is if you look at movies what's it called, Children of Men, it goes into how even over in the UK they had people getting hemmed up in cages. Basically if you weren't, if you didn't have a British passport, then that's how they were dealing with you. So these lines are going to be drawn. This is just an example of these things basically increasing. You see. Okay, it says former detainees have described to Reuters being tortured during interrogation at the camps, living in crowded cells and being subjected to a brutal daily regimen of party indoctrination that drove some people to suicide. So that's just a full-on concentration camp. And the thing is, China will kind of do these things. The thing is that the so-called Communist Party they got over there was set up on Mao Zedong, and that guy was known for annihilating people, man. People were getting minced like meat, man, over there. So this is locking people up, putting people in concentration camps. Those kinds of things it's not that extreme of a thing. Over there, it's even though it's the US be condemning it, they don't really give a fuck, man. Them guys do whatever the hell they want, more or less. The thing is China still obviously has to participate in the system, but more or less they can just they're all on the other side of the world, and they're basically thinking of working against the US anyway, so they're not really too bothered if the US tries to put sanctions or talk shit. So well, yeah, that's the first one. Let me go to this one as well. Because it's funny, it says the first one's about Muslims in China, but then it's Christians. Well, it's on the BBC News. It says Christian persecution at near genocide levels. And it says the persecution of Christians in parts of the world is near genocide levels, according to a report ordered by Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt. The review, led by Bishop of Truro and Right Reverend Philip Mount Stephen, estimated that 1 in 3 people suffer from religious persecutions. Christians were the most persecuted religious group it found. Yeah. Christians getting persecuted in certain parts. Well, it says interim reports that the main aspect of genocidal acts against Christians is Exodus, and that Christianity faced being wiped out from parts of the Middle East. Certain parts there's if the government's Muslim, them guys is looking at the Christians like they're going off, and they get violent down there. So it says, it warned the religions at risk of disappearing in some parts of the world, pointing to figures which claim Christians in Palestine represent less than 1.5% of the population, while in Iraq they had fallen from 1.5 million before 2003 to less than 12,000. Evidence shows not only geographic spread of anti-Christian persecution, but also its increase in severity. So yeah, that's once again, Christianity is also, people also get working against it in certain parts of the world. And the thing is, it's going to be global, upheavals of people disliking, if you're basically dealing with certain religions, all these kinds of things, man. And it's ultimately going to turn against, the Mennonist truth. Because that's the main thing I want to highlight. I'm just showing, examples of it increasing around the world. Muslims or Christians, these guys will say, oh, we're oppressed. But, it's really the Mennonist truth that are the ones that are going to taste the full brunt of that, man. Read this, 2 Timothy 3 and 10. But thou hast fully known my doctrine, manner of life, purpose, faith, long-suffering, charity, patience, persecutions, afflictions, which came unto me at Antioch, at Iconium, at Lystra, what persecutions I endured, but out of them all the Lord delivered me. So yeah, this was Paul talking about the different persecutions that he'd suffered, the different things he'd basically gone through at different locations at different times, and that's all because he was hanging on to the truth. Because before, when Paul was when he was what's the word I'm looking for? When he was persecuting the church, he wasn't having them problems. But then as soon as he became part of it, then everyone was coming against him. That's why he got stoned, he got assaulted. Different things, persecutions came because of the word. But it says what the Lord delivered him out of it. It said what, yea, and all that will live godly in Hamashiach Yahushua shall suffer persecution. Yeah, so anyone who's basically living correct in his word, you're going to suffer persecution. So this is a thing that you just got to be ready for. And it's going to increase, just like it said, again, the anti-Christian sentiment has been increasing in severity. It's the same thing with the Muslims. As soon as, over here, Brexit got voted in, it said there was a spike the month after, there was a 200% spike in hate crimes. So it's basically anyone you're looking at, what them guys believe. Because the thing is, even though this place claims to be a Christian country, really they don't deal with the truth of the Bible, they don't deal with what the Bible teaches. So it's a thing where they're just going to see, they're going to see what we're doing as something completely alien. And they're going to be coming against us and saying, what you saying, different things we teach. These guys are going to be completely upset and ready to just attempt to destroy us for these things, man. But yeah, I'll leave it there. I say, I'll praise to Yahweh Hashem, Yahshua Hashem, Makakadash, Double and the Apostle, Elders, Great Millstone, Shalom.